I'd stayed on? What happens if I'd become that runner, I noticed that the people who were running with me then, they're a bit older, they'd done uni, but they're now directing music videos and commercials, and I think, well, I'm sorry I don't. But then I think about uni, and I agree with Dave about using your 2 years and making showreels, but I think I had a bloody good time. It was social, I interacted with people and got up to loads of weird and wonderful and cool things, and that is part of living and life experience. And if you put the title writer on someone, you've got to have experience. So I feel like I might have had quite a sheltered life, just day in, day out, really long days, if I'd got on that ladder at being a runner. But then what happens is you come out a bit older after university, and actually you are actually at the bottom of that ladder. That guy who didn't go to university might be a few above you, but it's kind of, university's not for everyone. But I like to think that I kind of had that sort of life experience, maybe you can call it that. And there is that academic thing that, I was, some of my lectures were heavily into sound design, and I got really into Scandinavian cinema. And it's kind of that, I don't think if I was a runner just working every day, going up that ladder, I would have really got that knowledge and that experience that hopefully a couple of steps up will all help me. So it's sort of going back to your question about uni versus that. So I'm not going to say what you do, but that's just my thing, because I still ponder, like, what happens if I just stayed in London? Where would I be? I don't know. But I'm in the slog of it now, and it's interesting that you've mentioned directors and ideas, is because it's where to put those ideas and who you talk to about trusting you to take them on. Because you work for production companies as a camera op and editor. Well, actually, that's their company, and they've got their ideas, and they do want to listen to your ideas. But they've got their own ideas to be made as well, and there's only a little pot of money to sort of make them. So, yeah, it's just an open-ended sort of debate, really. But that's just some of my views, picking up on whatever people have said about it, really. And I just think if you're at university, use the kit and do it yourself, and make more of a showreel. So because it is a bit of a competition, you're 3 years with people on your course. At the end of the day, they're after all the same jobs as you are. So if you can just sort of be a bit savvy and think, first year, right, I've done that workshop, I'll get the camera out that weekend and make a short film. And already you're building up that portfolio as soon as you get to university. Whereas a lot of people, maybe myself, probably in my showreel, I don't have any of that stuff on it, because I didn't think back in the first year that maybe all this would add up for my, my final showreel. So yeah, you just gotta be enthusiastic, I suppose, at the end of the day. And it's an individual thing about university or not, but they're my personal opinions on why I went to uni.
Any other questions at this stage? And Matt, did that answer kind of, well, pretty good, comprehensively, yeah. But yeah, I still don't know what to do. Could you, Mark, maybe give us a brief overview of what training opportunities, where are the training grounds for new filmmakers in the Southwest? Because Southwest Screen is kind of the first stop on the filmmakers' map of coming to you to get money, to make digital shorts, sending their scripts in to be assessed, that kind of thing. So what, from your opinion, is the Southwest Screen in particular, and what other schemes are you aware of in the Southwest for young filmmakers?
The young filmmakers, I mean, Club Flix is a very good example of a real strength of the Southwest, which is what we kind of call community production companies, but production companies who are highly professional and very good at working with young people and very good at building their talent. So, Zooted and Booted, Calling the Shots in Bristol, Firstborn Creatives in Bristol, Engine Room in Bridgewater, Phoenix in Exeter. And we're very lucky in that Create in Swindon's another good one, in that there are some really, really good community resources and really good ways of getting into filmmaking, getting your hands on kit essentially, and getting people to trust you, to help you and to kind of mentor you. In terms of training that Southwest Screen's able to provide, I think we just kind of, we touched the tip of the iceberg. We have a limited amount of funding from the Film Council, which we try and use as adeptly and adroitly as we possibly can, and that's trying to pick talented people and help them up the next kind of run of the ladder. And you mentioned a ladder of progression, and that's how we always think of it, and we draw it. But to be honest, we can't help too many people up that ladder. We just funded Chef's Next Film, and we fund something like 8 short films a year, but we are looking for lots of other opportunities. The other places where we intervene around training is not so much about film, but it's around kind of content production, is the stuff that we've done with Aardman, with Endemol, with people like 2-4 in Plymouth, where we're trying to intervene where there are gaps. Southwest Screen kind of prides itself on not doing something if somebody else is doing it, but there are gaps in industry training, especially around kind of freelancer training. In a world where technology is changing very, very fast, how do you, as your own business in your own right, and I've kind of been in that position, keep up to date with the skills? How do you keep moving? So we did a training scheme with Endemol when they first arrived, and they wanted to bring very quick turnaround gallery quiz shows to the Southwest, and we had a whole lot of people that have worked on documentaries on natural history programming. So we did a big kind of training course with Endemol to create that talent base. We've just done a couple of training schemes with Aardman, one around CGI and another one around storyboarding, because there are specific gaps in the market. So there's some kind of examples. We have done a number of kind of new entrance schemes which pick up people who are coming out of university, but they tend to be on very specific grades like production assistants or looking at new kind of digital workflows. So, I mean, it's not a very kind of coherent answer, because I don't think it's a very particularly coherent picture. We're able to do a little bit. I think the community resources are very strong. And to come back to a lot of what's said today, the means of production are cheap, and you learn by doing. So there's a lot of kind of self-training. I taught myself to edit in the nights when I was a runner. I used to run around Soho with 1-inch tapes, which were an old form of videotape. And then when people were sitting in their edit suites working overnight, I'd nip into the other suite and edit. And I think that's the way a lot of the training in the industry has happened. You self-taught when you can, blag some kit or find some time.
Something that interests me is, let's say I'm going to university, but when I come out of university and I want to go into the industry, either at the bottom of the ladder, but where do I go? Do I go to London or do I go to Bristol? I know they're kind of moving things out of London now for the BBC, but is it still going to be, is the soul of the British industry still going to be in London, or is it worth moving to London and paying those fees and paying that money to have a house there, or rent and all that stuff? Is it worth it?
What do you want? It depends what you want to do.
Yeah.
London's more competitive. There's sort of more opportunity there in a sense. It's a lot more competitive because there's a honeypot to an extent. And then it's the area that you want to get into, and what's available locally, and what's your aspiration. And if you can target that, it might be beeline to Endemol, it could be a beeline to us, it could be a beeline to, say, Moving Picture Company. If for example, say in our sector, say you want to do special effects work, digital special effects work, there's not really that many people in the Southwest that do that at a high level. There are 5 or 6 good companies in London that do stuff on an international market now. So you would, burrow into that lot. But that's, you need to know kind of where your focus is, what you want to do, and then say, well, who's doing that? Who's doing it? Where I'd like to be?
Yeah.
Are they moving towards becoming like a world-class player, say, or a big player on the UK scene, and sort of pre-plan a little bit of progression? Well, actually, I'll happily do. I mean, actually, Southwest Screen a couple of years ago had a really nice scheme. I don't know whether it's still running, Mark, where trainees were sent around about 4 or 5 different facilities within Bristol. They came to us, went to the BBC, Films 59, and that was a great idea, because that way you could shake down, see how other formats operate, whether it's natural history, documentary, drama, animation, or post house. And that was a really interesting programme, because you got a really good sense of how the industry works and all its manifestations, and a few weeks at each place was great. Some people might just say, I know exactly what I do. I'm going to target that outfit because I want to be that person in 5 years' time, whatever it is.
Do you have an idea of what you'd like to do there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Camera
What
work
is that?
and into directing.
Right.
think the one